Hi guys, it's Aegis here. So now we are getting into the top 4 of Hong Kong Overdrive SSP events. So again, it is a mix of the AM and PM event to get into top 8, and then now we get into top 4. And from here, we actually do have a BO3 instead of normal BO1. So if you lose the first game, you still have at least one game to catch up, and then probably one more game if you win the second one, if you lose one. Yeah, so trying to kind of reduce purely determined by the luck factor as possible. And now we do have a Baromagnes versus Nirvana, which again is quite different to what we see in Bushido Spring Fest, that we don't see a lot of Nirvana and we see a few Baromagnes only. But Baromagnes here is trying to rush, and it's a deck that requires you to actually push quite early because you keep soul charging a lot and you kind of draw quite a bit of cards even though you use a lot of them as well. So you won't be able to last very long. But Nirvana in return actually is a more stable deck. They do have draws, they do have power pump. As long as the board isn't like touched, they probably just keep the field, keep the hand, being stable with a lot of hands to defend, and they can actually play a slow game. But you can see the Nirvana player here is actually trying to rush, because if they push more damage to Baromagnes, which also mean this is helping Baromagnes to deck out, because again they do soul charge a lot. So you push them more, you push clean the field, force them to use some hands to guard, then that also relating to how Baromagnes being able to get what they want. Because when you ride Baromagnes on top of Electro Spartan, you do need to use a hand into soul to play the skill to get one card from hand in soul, draw one and soul charge one. And as you can see here, we actually do have some counters that our head judge helped to find from a local store. So this is actually helping me, or helping you guys, to see the power changes. But do a quick note that we don't have 100 billion counter. So if you see an over trigger, we will use something different to sort this. And Baromagnes side is actually trying to rush, but got it face it defensive, so they need to try to kill or any overdrive source basically. But both get guarded, so maybe we can see a Valiente on coming into the field, maybe. But first we do see a Varina in hand first, which is a very good beater. Baromagnes side only got 3 hands, so this will be a tough turn. And if all of the Selfish and Graveyard is gone, this will highly reduce the chances of counter charge and also soul charge. So let's see what's actually going to happen. And of course, just a little side note here, you can actually see my playmat being used on the left side is because the Baromagnes player don't have a playmat, and we think using a playmat probably can kind of reduce the light issue. As you can see, we do have some reflection, but with the playmat we actually kind of cancel that, so I'm using mine to help him out because he's actually a friend of mine. So here comes the Arc Draw 2, and trying to go full swing. So the frontal skill won't active for the 10k plus. He goes a double Valiente, so that is a threat sign, because if you don't clean the arcs, you're probably going to face 2 23k Valiente next turn, which is quite scary. And the final side actually get the field set up, so you do need to do something about it. But Baromagnes side only have a few cards in hand, so it's not looking good for his side. Oh, but he got a heal, so kind of help. Survive a little bit longer, and now he need to discard a card to ride into Baromagnes, and also need a card for Electro Spotting skill. So that's 2 cards gone, which makes him quite defenseless. So here comes a Curtis going to Baromagnes, and I think he soul charge a PG, draw and soul charge, another Baromagnes. So -1 on personal right, and Electro Spartan soul charge 2 more, 8 souls. So he need 2 more to actually get 2 part skills. And here comes the Curtis to soul charge 2 more, reaching 10 souls. So he kind of reached 15 souls early game, which I think is what he expected. So now getting into battle, Electro Spawn trying to kill the arcs. As I said, you don't want to get the overdressed stage units actually stay on the field, because they are going to become Valiente, and those are 23k. Once they get into a 23k Valiente, you are very hard to get rid of them unless you get into a Baromagnes skill to put them all in soul. But if his hand is that small, you don't expect him to actually be able to do that. And he's dropping 1 Valiente with the PG. He comes a Tree Drive, a PG, and something I can't see, but I think it's a normal unit because it's nothing state about power, probably a Gungram. And here comes a Sonica boosted and Graver attack, also on the Ox. Now soul charge, a over trigger, actually over trigger. So for Baromagnes side, they are having an even hard time without the over trigger, because the over trigger actually can help push damage. Because if you can't push damage right now, for Baromagnes you are actually getting closer to deck out. So you do have 2 losing condition right now. Basically lose by deck out or normally 6 damage. So as I said before, Baromagnes is not a strong deck to play a long game. So even some small pokes is going to hurt. And Vanguard going in. Here comes a normal and only 23k. Going to 1 to 4, so again still quite disadvantaged for a Baromagnes player. And depending on his hand, he don't have personal right, so don't have the 1 soul plus from riding, and he is actually thinking quite a lot. So is he going to soul charge some cards? Yes, there's a Gungram soul charging 1. So I think now is 13 souls. And here comes another one, so he is 1 short. And Counter Blast, my attack, draw, 10k and crit. So here comes a draw. And the problem here, you see the player actually didn't draw and get into a crit, so this is a miss on our side. Sorry about that, but yeah, it just happens. And I think both players are actually quite kind of exhausted, and at the same time very intense because it's top, so that sometimes happens. And he faces a 2 defensive triggers, so the Nirvana is actually 33k, so probably a little bit hard to beat right now. So 31k can't reach a Vanguard, so hitting the Valiante to prevent Nirvana to pump it up. A Gungram with Sonica boosted should reach, yes, 36k to Vanguard, so at least cheating a 5k shield. So they are checking heals. There's 3 heals on the Baromagnes side, and also checking triggers. Eight triggers appeared, so half is gone, and so is 14. And I think they are also checking some other content, because you do want to know what's existed. So 3 Baromagnes gone, I think that's what they're talking about. So now going to Nirvana's turn. Of course, cleaning the counters. That's what our judges are doing. So the Nirvanas actually got 3 open counterblocks here, so he can basically do everything he wants it with the deck, as long as he got the cards in hand. And no personal right, I think. Here comes a Trickster to draw 2 cards, which helps a lot for survival and also for building up the board. But is he having a Valiante in hand? Because we see him drop 1 from PG and 1 is gone, being attacked. Looks like not. So he's ditching a arc, I think, for Trickster and going to Varina for the power. And now swinging with Nirvana with all 10k boosts back up again. So for Baromagnes player, what you need to consider right now is, are you going to take this hit with the other 2 probably getting a higher power, and you just use your hands left to defend those 2, or you guard this one and then when the other one that's probably get a crit, then you stop that. But of course, the over trigger for the final side is not open yet, so it can actually happen right now and get a restand Vanguard and just completely flip the table. So you can see the Baromagnes player is actually thinking very hardly. Is he going to PG it? If he's doing other options, he decided to PG. So let's check the double chain drive. Here comes the over trigger, as I said. So of course, again, we don't have 100 million counter, so we probably will just put the trigger on the unit that you applied. And now let's then decide where the power goes. Only 3 hands from Baromagnes side, so lucky that there is no Valiante on the field, because if that exists, that's actually going to completely shut down the game. because I only got 2 cards in hand. So yep, so I skipped the thinking time because that was a little bit long, so I don't want you to just see this part for like no movement. And here comes a crit, of course, so the over trigger goes to normal Farina, and the crit only go to Farina, and the 10k goes to Arcs. So this one is with the okay, so dropping the PG back first. Farina 100 million plus with crit, taking 2 damage, and that's game 1. So entering game 2. So Baromagnes player actually get to go first, so that actually helped a little bit more, because for Baromagnes, if you can do your move first, you get your thing faster, you get the pressure on, you do have a chance to win. But of course, the final side is going all out to rush. Here comes the defensive trigger that really helps. But I think the Baromagnes player is no guarding this, get a draw. So get 2 defense trigger to survive for the turn. If not, he's going up to 3, which is very bad. But this is something that can't help. Electro spawning Soul Charge 2. And Engraver trying to threat the board. No, here comes 1 PG. Engraver hitting Vanguard, baiting a trigger. And then the Vanguard Electro Spotter, thinking what to hit. Hitting Vanguard, trying to push damage, which I think is a right choice. Because if you can't push damage, your Baromagnes won't be a threat at all. Yes, 2 crit is great. Even with over trigger, 3 crit is even greater. But over trigger is something that you can't guarantee. Crit is something that you can't guarantee. You're only hitting for 2 damage. And if your opponent is only on 1, they will actually have the room to take it. So here comes the Ryu getting Trickster, and we can probably see the Overdress getting into play. Here comes the arcs, as usual. Canvas, draw 2. And let's see if he's going to play more units. Basically, his field is ready and kind of perfect right here. Playing a normal Farina with her Overdress, trying to threat the damage, and he got a crit. So 2 damage, pushing Baromagnes player to 4 damage, which again is a great threat to Baromagnes player, because that means starting from grade 3, basically all Vanguard attacks he needs to guard it if he's kind of afraid. And we can see him dropping a over trigger, so again over trigger is gone for his side, which is totally not a very good sign. But let's see if he can actually catch up. Dropping order, riding in the Baromagnes. This time I can't see what is soul charge. Draw soul charge. I think it's Sonica. And I think he needs to draw a card. Let's see if he actually did it. If not, then probably missed it. Yeah, I think he missed it. So 18k to the final. The soul charge actually helps, but missing the draw one, that's of course something that we can't do anything about it. But if he got the extra drawback, then probably helps him a lot. Maybe that's a card that can help his, the Baromagnes player to reach the soul he needs. So here comes a 15k shield, and Baromagnes attacking the rearguard instead. Heal, which helps a lot, and he's still got an Electro Spartan, probably going to hit the Foreigner. Probably hitting a Foreigner. He's deciding what to attack. Let's see. One open damage for the final player. So is he going to give more damage while he can, or he's actually trying to reduce the counter blast that he can use while trying to clean up units that can help pump by the foreigner. So he comes attacking the foreigner as expected, and it's gone. And now getting into the foreigner, and that's my hand fixing the deck, because when we are going to top cuts, usually only judges are allowed, are the person who can actually touch the deck without except the basic cuts, search decks and stuff. After those, judge will do some cuts or like fixing the angles the player wants. That's all done by judges, so that the players have less interaction with the deck without like special intention, just in case. So the fronter going in, 33k, declaring low guard, chain drive, trickster, and a PG. So 1 damage, which is nice. At least it's not a crit, because if we saw a few matches before, the Nirvana player usually get crits quite easily. That just happened. So the final skill, burning the one at the back, and 38 attacking Vanguard. Got it, draw. So back to the Baromagnes player turn. He do need to find a way to push this turn, but his opponent has a PG. So on defense, Baromagnes player actually is facing a hard time again, and I don't think he reaches 10 souls by now. So yeah, it's pretty harsh, and this is the reason why the foreigner is being used, because it's so stable, while Baromagnes is bursting quite big, is big power, great threat, but you don't have a lot of hands to protect yourself, to build up your board, and you kind of need to rely on your opponents not cleaning all your stuff, but and when they do, you do lose a lot of resources, and once you can't catch up, you can easily lose your game. So Curtis skill active, 5k to off front row units. I think he's trying to push, and he can't reach 15k, so attacking Vanguard, 11 souls, so 4 less. So here comes the over trigger. So this time you won't see both sides getting over trigger at all. Tree drive with both nothing. So now here comes the struggling point again. Are you going to clean out all the overdressed units so the farmer will have enough resources, or you actually do try to push a little bit of damage to Vanguard so that you can kind of push harder next turn if you do have a next turn. So hitting in the farmer and get it cleared, which for the Nirvana player is actually quite nice because he guarded for one and baited the other attack to the farmer again, so that he don't need to actually take damage and he can like survive for another turn. Once he got another turn, means he have a lot of chances to rebuild his board. And of course, he just waiting for 23k being guarded with a by PG. He got an order and a Valiante. So I'm helping out to take the PG away. And the other two aren't attackable targets, so that's it. And no personal right, so for both two matches we don't see the Baromagnes player actually get personal right, which quite hurts, because losing that don't have those 10k plus for Baromagnes, you actually can't push a lot. He needs to rely on regards to actually build the numbers, and got PG. So let's see what he chain drive. So first check, nothing. Second check, yeah. I think it's a crit. Or to Curtis. $18 to get the soul charge and counter charge. So he is sacrificing intercepts for extra soul charge, trying to survive for the coming turn, and then he probably can reach 15 souls. This is with crit, but he's on 5, so it's definitely not a easy turn. Yep, so this one is a crit. Now is for the final player to think if he wants the extra counter blast, which pushes him to 4 damage, which as long as it's back to Baromagnes' turn, the Vanguard attack can be fatal, and all regard attack that contains extra crit will also be fatal. So he decided to take a draw, and a draw again. So that really helps the Nirvana player, because you can see last turn he only used 2 great ones to try to push, and now he do get 2 extra draw and get into the personal ride with the starting turn draw, he get 4 cards draw, which is very big. So here comes the Valiante and pure Vanguard push, which is interesting. He didn't drop any cards to guard. Like didn't drop any card to get a Trickster and then go back to Valiante. Probably all of them are defensive. Probably. So baited a PG. Twin Drive getting in. More power. I think it's a heal. And a Varna. 30k and 33k. So all are quite threatening. Okay, he survived for the turn. And this is probably his last chance, because he only get 2 cards in hand. 13 souls, and he don't have a lot of cards in deck left, so this is like the last game. But as I said, soul charge 2, so he do have enough souls right now, but it's kind of late. Hitting 18, again no personal right. The threat is quite small because it can be guarded for 50k shield. If he got a personal right, can push to 28k, and a 50k shield can help, which will drop a lot more hands. So you can see even personal right is a mechanic that is not a must for the game, but it's also creating impact if you don't have it. Especially when you're facing decks like Nirvana, which is quite stable, have some constant draw, and of course sometimes you do like phase 2 draw defensive plays, then yeah, something that you can't flip the table unless you get personal right. And even if your personal right is kind of a catch up, so he plays a 50k shield order to guard that and graveyard attack. And hitting again for 31k. So they are counting number of cards in the deck. 7 cards in deck. So let's back to the regard attack. I think he's trying to guard it. Okay, now he decided not to guard. Getting into Arcs, and which means this will be PG probably. So finally, using the 50k soul skill, calling in 1 Sonica and 2 Sonica. That's the final one. So, of course, baited a PG, and this is his last chance. Crits. So probably the Sonica a lot, and a very late Baromagnes. So here comes a quick swing, 38k guarded, and 28k. So if he can't let the attack go through, basically that's GG. Because only 1 trigger, only 1 Baromagnes is not going to save it. Yeah, so it's guarded. And the 5 player can still basically just play everything out. Get a Trickster and overdress into Arcs, draw 2. So that's 2 attacks already. You only got 50k shield. You got 1 attack, which means you need to take another one, and I don't think he got any heals left. Three cards in hand, so maybe there's something that he can save him, but we need to see. If the Nirvana player got no triggers, and the Baromagnes player do have 2 cards in hand, he can survive, but then at the same time his Vanguard can't attack, so probably won't change the game a lot. So using skill, of course, he decided no guard and taking into crit, so even if he got 50 shield, that's all. Thanks for watching guys, and I will see you guys in the next video.